I mean, I was very shocked to recently learn of a local hotel in the Shipley constituency that's being used for temporary accommodation. So whilst I welcome the sort of idea that, one, we're going to have better standards, the decent home standards for the social rent, that there's also, under the Renters Reform Bill, the government will be bringing forward that to be extended to private rented. I think from the NAO report, about 10% of that private rented is B&B and hotel. And I just want to come back to this point that, you know, the example that was given to me was that basically a room only had a kettle, so tea and coffee making facilities, and so our local food bank is actually having to put together specifically designed food parcels for residents there that doesn't actually require anything more than just adding boiling water. So, you know, these people are living with very restricted diets. So the idea that we're going to be able to up that to anything like any decent standard, I mean, it's just isn't the truth that we just have to focus on putting an end to it. And I suppose that's where I would be wanting to sort of say how much, you know, you talked about sort of this team that goes in if you've got a few families, but actually even if you're not a family, even if you're an adult with no children in that circumstance, that is not a circumstance that we should be housing people in. So I just want reassurance really that rather than looking for some fix that might find a way to apply decent standards, that basically B&B and hotel accommodation is never going to be fit for purpose, never mind for families, but just for anybody.
I think we said earlier, kind of like the legislation is clear on kind of the point on B&B accommodation, and that is the position. You know, it should be absolutely minimal use, like for emergency only.
Yeah. So what more progress and support is needed for local authorities to shift that? Because
I don't think local government would be using these B&Bs and hotel accommodation if they had alternative options. Obviously, we would like, as much as possible, like authorities to be able to learn from each other where people have found solutions. But fundamentally, when you've got scarcity of supply, sometimes that, you know, local authorities are not doing this by choice because they think that it creates good outcomes, because we know that it does not.
I suppose it just feels, knowing so many people are in those circumstances right now, that whilst I totally appreciate that, you know, we've got ministerial task force coming, we've got a long-term housing strategy, you know, this is, you know, not only money wasted, but terrible, terrible outcomes for people.